installing an application for your Android devices, there is a file format, package file format. For that, we will say it as Android application package. So what you call as APK files, that is Android application package. Okay. So when you create, okay, how this will be built. So how this package will be built? What is the process to build the package? So this Android Studio uses Gradle build system. Okay, the Android Studio uses the Gradle build system, where it's a plugin for Android Studio. Okay, where it's a plugin for Android, where this Android Studio is integrated with the build system. The Gradle has been integrated for your Android Studio. Okay. So what is this? I will tell regarding the Gradle. So what is this build.gradle? See, what's the image in the PPT you are seeing? So this is how the Gradle system will be there. So each project has the following things. Okay. So what are those? Build.gradle, that is project hello, project app title. So this is the thing. So first one, build.gradle. So this is a, so how it will generate the, by integrating this Gradle tool, the Android Studio automatically generates the necessary build files. Okay, the Android Studio generates the necessary build files in the Gradle scripts. So what we call this Gradle scripts, it automatically generates all these things. Okay, so in that, the first one is build.gradle. That is project, whatever the project title is there, it will display. So this is a top level file, build file. So this build.gradle is a top level build file where it specifies for the entire project. This will build the process. Okay. So where it is located in the root project directly, where this entire project build process includes, where it is applied to all the modules in your project. Okay, where this file is generated by Android Studio, and you should not edit the include app dependencies. So whatever the information within this build.gradle, you should not edit anything. Okay, so that is Android Studio is automatically generating by applying to all the modules of your project. This is process is for whole project. Okay, so next is build.gradle, that is module app. So this is also created by the Android Studio, where it creates separate build.gradle files for each module. So this build process will build for build the files for each modules of your project, where in this file you can edit the build settings. So you can edit the build setting. Why you need to edit? To provide the custom package options for each module. Okay, where such as build types, product flavors, override settings, manifest, top level build.gradle, where whatever the manifest files you have been declared in, so whatever the contents you have been specified in the manifest, Android manifest.xml, so if you override, that can be override in the build.gradle file. Okay. So now see what are all the things. So where the file is most often file to edit when changing the app level configuration. So when you want to change the app level configuration, where you can edit means in this build.gradle, which is specifically for modules. Okay, and you can declare the dependencies if it is necessary. Until unless it's not necessary, you should not edit any dependencies. So the following content shows the build. So these are all the contents which is in the build.gradle module app file. Okay, so the build.gradle files uses Gradle syntax. Okay, this is a Gradle syntax, where Gradle is a domain specific language. Why it is used? For describing, manipulating the build logic using Groovy. So where Groovy is a dynamic language for JVM. So here you no need to worry about what is Groovy, what is the syntax of Groovy, how it is defined and all, where the Android Studio will automatically do all those things. So what is this Gradle? So Gradle is a build automation tool. Okay, it's a build automation tool for multi-language software development. Okay, this Gradle is build automation tool for multi-language software development. What does it do? It controls development process in the task of compilation and packaging. So when your project is compilation and packaging, this Gradle tool, what this automation tool, that is what we call it as a Gradle, which controls the process. Okay, where it also supports C, C++, Java, JavaScript, Kotlin, Groovy, Scala. All these languages will be supported in this automation tool, where this Gradle tool is integrated with your software tool. So the Android Studio will automatically generate all these Gradle files. Okay, let's see one by one what are all the things here has been in the Gradle. So before that, I would like to show how it will be there in the Android Studio. See, this is you learn where you should not edit anything. Where in this build, see here, project visiting card application, what the project I have been created. So build.gradle module visiting card application dot apk. So if you double click, you can see these things, plugins, Android. Within that, you have a default configuration. What is this build type and compile options and dependencies, all those things. Okay. So let's see what is this one by one. So first one is apply plugin. Okay. So what is this apply plugin? It's a first statement where Android specific Gradle plugin builds the task. So this first line in the build configuration applies Android plugin for Gradle to build and makes the Android block available to specify the Android specific build option. So this first line specifies what plugin you have been applied. So where that plugin will be configured in the Gradle files. That is the apply plugin. So next is Android block, where you configure all the Android specific build options. So within that, you will be having a Android specific configurations will be there within the Android function. Okay. So in that, the first line is compile SDK version. So what is this compile SDK version? So you have learned minimum SDK version, target SDK version, all those things. What is this compile SDK version? So this compile SDK version specifies Android API level Gradle should use to compile your lab. It means that what the version you specify here, so within that version, it will compile your project. Okay, this means that your app can use API features, including this API level and lower also. Okay, when it is compiling. Okay, so next is build tool version. Okay, build tool version. So what is this build tool version? So that compile SDK version is to compiling the code. Okay, what the version you have been given, based on that version API level, it will come that level, and the lower level it will take. And build tool version is building the app, where it specifies the version of SDK build tool, software development build tool, where command line utilities, compiler, the Gradle should use to build your app. So for all these things, you should download build tools using SDK manager. So there is no necessity you should download each and every build tools. So when you are installing the Android Studio only, by default all the tools will be downloaded. So this property is optional because plugin uses recommended version build tools by default. So by default it will take. There is no necessity to change this. Okay, so that is about the compile SDK version and build tool version. So next is default config block. So this default config block will be within the Android block. Okay, so default config block encapsulates default setting and entries of all build variants and can override some of the attributes in the manifest.xml file. So what you have been specified in the Android manifest.xml that can be overridden if you have changed the configuration in the default config block. Okay, where it builds the system dynamically. Okay, where you can override the things of different versions of your app. So in this, the first one is application ID. So first one is application ID, where application ID, as I said before in the previous classes, the application ID uniquely identifies the package for publishing. So when you are publishing, this application ID matters a lot, where this application should be unique. So your source code still reference the package name defined by the package attribute with what you have been specified in the package attribute within the Android manifest.xml. Okay, so what are all the things will be there in this default block mix? Minimum SDK version, target SDK version code, and version name. So as you know that minimum SDK version is defines the minimum API level required to run the app. So if you want to run the app, minimum API level should be mentioned. So target specifies target SDK version specifies API level used to test the app. So maximum API level you can use. That is a target SDK version. So version code defines the version number of our app. So for example, so many apps you have seen that, so it has been updated. You need to update that particular application where the version has been updated. You will say that, right? So when you are installing the app, so for example, you have installed one WhatsApp application or any Facebook, any applications in your Android device. So after a period of time, the developer will update that particular application where it changes the version code. So where you need to specify that version code here in the default config block, where default config block will be within the Android block, where this whole will be in your build.gradle module. Okay. So next is version name. So defines the user-friendly version name of your app. Whatever you want, you can give. Okay. Next is build types, where which controls how the app is built and packaged. So build type will control how the app is built and how it is packaged. Where by default, build type block is wherever you configure multiple build types. So by default, the build system should defines two build types. So it by defaultly defines two build system. One is for debug and one is release. One is debug and one is release. So debug build type is not explicitly shown in default build configuration. It means that, so when you see this, one second, I will show in the Android Studio. See, in the build type, the default will be, I said, two things, debug and release. Whereas in the default file also, the debug will not be there, only the release block will be there. That is what it said. Okay. So that is about build type. So first one is release. So by default, the Android Studio configures the release build type to enable code shrinking using mini FY enabled and specifies the default ProGuard rules. Okay. So when you are having running this file, so build type applies the ProGuard settings. So not assigned by default also. Okay. That is about release. That is mini FY true enables. This enables code shrinking for release build type. So it will shrink the code of your project when you are releasing this project application. Okay. So next is dependencies. So dependencies are defined in the dependencies block, where it is a part of build.gradle file, where dependencies is not within the Android block, it is outside the Android block, where here the dependencies block in the module level build configuration file specifies dependencies required to build only the module itself. Okay, so it means that, so what all the dependencies are required for your project, where that will be defined in the module level. Okay, so in this you can see here the project includes so many libraries, where also includes com.android.support app compact version, where it implements this package, and it implements file tree. It means directory libs, and includes dot, adds a dependency of all .jar files inside the library directory. So inside the library, what are all the jar will be there, all the .jar files will be included in the LIBS library directory. Okay, so this is a newer version what you are seeing. So in the older version, as in your prescribed thing, they have given here, you can see here dependencies. You have a compile all these things. In the older versions, it was like this. See here, in the newer version, there is no such thing what is in the older versions. Okay, so as I see, the compile file tree dialects, but in the newer version, what they have been changed. Sorry, here it has been changed to implementation type. Okay, so understanding everyone. So next is how to sync your project. Okay, to sync your project, guys, can you hear me right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. To sync the project files, uh, when you need to sync this file, before you learn how to sync, when you need to sync this file. So when you make any changes in the build configuration files in your project, so this Android Studio, you need to sync the project. Okay, so it can import the build configuration changes. So if you sync the project, then only whatever the changes you have been made for the build configuration files, then only it will import those changes and runs and checks for the errors if there is any errors in your build. Okay, so how to sync this project? To sync the project files, click sync now in the notification bar appears when making changes, or click sync project from the menu bar. Okay, see here. So whenever you change anything in your build file, so automatically Android Studio displays this. The Android files, Gradle files have changed. These Gradle files have changed since the last project sync. The project sync may be necessary for the IDE to work properly. Here it will get sync now, then you need to click the sync. Or else in the menu bar, you can use this icon to sync the project whenever you make any changes in your build. Okay. So next is how to run your application on an emulator or your physical device. Emulator is a virtual device, or and you can also run in your physical device. So how to run this? So when you want to test an app on different devices such as tablets or smartphones, where these devices or the smart tablets or the smartphones have different API levels and different Android versions also will be there. You need to keep in that mind. So why you need to run, to make sure that whatever the you have been developed, it should good and work correctly for all the users. So that's why you need to check your app before you publish the app. Okay, so how to run this? There is an Android virtual device manager, where it creates a virtual device or an emulator that simulates the configuration for a particular type of an Android device. So I will show this. Just listen to the explanation, then I will show how to create and all the things. So AVD manager uses it to define. So what is this AVD manager? Where this AVD manager defines the hardware characteristics of a device. So how your physical device hardware configuration will be there, same exactly replica will be created by using the AVD manager. So by this, you can create your virtual device or an emulator. When you are creating this virtual device or an emulator, you can also select API level to save the virtual device configurations also. Okay. Next is how to create a virtual device. Okay. To run an emulator on your computer, AVD manager creates the configuration, as I said. So how you need to do, you need to select, go for tools. So I have given an image here. You will go for a tools, and so this is an older syllabus textbook. So that's why Android AVD manager. But in the newer Android Studio, as soon as you click, there is an Android manager directly. See how, click the Android manager icon in the toolbar. So where you will get the tool Android manager means, see here, there is an Android manager tool where you can click to create this virtual device. Okay. So if you click, so then click plus create virtual device button to create the new virtual device. So how it displays, see, this is how it displays. Okay. So it will your virtual device. So here it will ask for create virtual device. As soon as you click on the virtual device, you will come to know, choose define definition and all the things. So now we see in the Android Studio itself. See here, there is an, if you IVD manager, if you move the mouse over that particular icon, it will show AVD manager. Okay, or else you can go to tools. You can go to tools. There in the down, you will be having a Android manager. Both the things are okay. Okay, I will click here. See, you will get this Android virtual device. So if I click on this, you will get this. Okay, you will get this dialog box where you can select. See, there are so many devices of the Google. So here you will get only the Google devices, virtual devices. You can select this or any of the things where it will displays the size, resolution, and what is the density of the device. So if you are building an app for TV or wearable devices or tablet or automotive, where you can select all those things here. So now we concentrate on a phone, smartphones, then we should go here. So it will display size, ratio, density, all those things you can have here. And if you click next, you will be seeing the API levels. Okay. See, the recommended API level is already selected. That is the recommended API. You need to install this. Or if you want to go for a lower version, you can select this and you can download and all the things. Okay, but prefer the recommended one. See, the recommended, it's shown whatever you want, you can select and run. So in my device, it's not supporting, my device HAXM is not supporting, so I couldn't able to install this. So in your device, if it supports, go for it and click for a next, and it will say startup orientation. Go for a don't need portrait only, it will be there. So then click on the finish. Okay. So it will start creating your Android virtual device. Okay, this is how it will display. So if you have installed all the things, then it won't display this dialog box, but in my device it is showing. So then you select, okay, and run. So then you can run this app. It won't run in my device. See, it will show an error if you have not done anything. Okay, so you need to do all those stuff. So, okay, this is a understood, guys, how to create the things. Everyone understanding? Okay. And one more thing you need to remember, when you create a virtual device, once you keep on start running the different applications, So the memory space will be more. So how to control that? See here, you should click and you should click wipe data. Do you really want to wipe the user files from? You click yes. All the things will be, the size will be reduced. Okay, then your running of the things will be little bit faster than usual. Okay, understanding everyone? Yes, can you able to see the screen properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. This is how to use AVD Manager and how to create your virtual device and how to run the on application on your emulator or the virtual device. Let's see how to run your application on virtual devices. Uh, so next is running app on your virtual devices. As I said, after creating the AVD manager, you need to go on the run button. You need to run. See, it takes so much of time to build the Gradle files. Okay, see here in the bottom of the Android Studio, see Gradle build process. So if you click, there are two things still it is running over there. So you need to wait that until unless it completes, don't do anything. Otherwise, your application will, your framework will get stuck, hang. Okay. So I will show once it is run, how it will be displayed. See, this is how you will see this panel. Android Studio will be look like this. This is the virtual device you will look when you run the app. Okay. So this is all the, once you run, you can see all the things what it has been run. Okay. So next is how to run on a physical device. Okay, how to run on a physical device. To run a physical device, what are the necessary things you should have? You should have an Android device, whether it may be a smartphone or a tablet, and you should have a data cable where you should connect your data cable to the computer through the USB port only. So if you are using a Linux, you need to check with the hardware devices, using hardware, how to use hardware devices. If you are using the Windows, you should have an appropriate USB driver, and if it is not there, you can see with the OEM USB drivers. Okay, so if you want to, let's communicate with the turn on USB debugging. So so if it is connection is done, then not enough. So how you need to communicate with the device through the Android Studio? How you should install your application to your physical device? So for that, you need to turn on the debugging on the Android device. So you should turn on USB debugging. So where it will be there in your physical device. So how you can turn on this? So by default, in any Android devices, the developer option will be disabled. So if you want to turn on the USB debugging, you should have a developer options in your Android device. But every Android device will have a hidden. These developer options will be hidden in your Android device. So how you need to turn on that your Android options? How you need to turn on that Android options? So you need to follow these steps. Okay, you need to follow the steps. So I will remove the screen sharing and I will connect with the mobile so that you will come to know how you need to do. One second, guys. I am. Okay. Now can you able to see the screen of my device?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So what you need to do, you need to go and open settings. Okay. You need to open the settings there. You need to scroll and you need to click on the what you need to click on the about phone. Okay, you need to click on about phone there. So many devices has different UI. in the about phone, right? So if you have a search button, you go and search for what you need to search. You need to search build number. You need to search build number, you will get. So I have the build number here. I have the build number here. So where it is? It is there in software information build number, correct? Okay, build number. So how you need to enable the developer option? So in the build number, you need to tap exactly 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Done. So if you have kept any passwords, it will ask for a password. You need to give the password. Okay. So okay, now the developer option has been enabled. Where you will get the developer option? So how you need to check the developer option? Go back. So if you scroll again, see you will get in the bottom of that, you will get developer option. See, okay, the developer option is on. So what you need to do here, you need to turn on USB debugging. Okay, you need to turn on USB debugging. Search for the USB debugging option. In the debugging panel, you have debugging option. You just turn on this and click OK. It has been turned on, right? It will ask for the permission, then give it allow. Okay, and it's been turned on. Okay, so now, okay, if I run, and in your system also there will be a firewall will be enabled, so that's why in the system also you will get a permission. You will it will ask for a permission whether to allow Android Studio or not. You should give yes. Okay, so now I will run this app. It will take time. So it is taking some time. I will share the screen with my laptop so that you can see how but still the Gradle process is running. CORI, wait for all target devices. Installing, launch app. Okay, until it completes, I will go with my mobile screen so that you can see. Wait, I will share my mobile screen so that you can see. Okay. Can you guys see this screen of my device?
Sir. Yes, sir.
See here, the app has been installed, right? See if I go, see here, see here, in the bottom there is an Android symbol and visiting card application. Okay, if I click on that application will launch. What is there in the application? It will display. Okay, so don't better not to create virtual device, because if you run on physical device, you will come to know exactly how it looks, how it works, what changes you can do. All these things you can do by connecting the physical device. So, and one more thing, when you create a virtual device, it will take almost 2 GB of your C drive. Okay, Android installation is 4 GB. Then again, extra 2 GB is required to create your virtual device. Maximum of 2 GB, I think so. Okay, so better you run your application on your physical devices only, then easily you can come to know. Okay, so I think you understood this, right? Okay, everyone understood?
Yes,
Say
sir.
operation success.
Yes, sir.
See, if you click on the run here, so you will
Yes, sir.
see what are all the things it has been run. So don't worry, all these things, it will be little bit difficult if you know all the things. Okay. See, still the application is running. So how to stop this? So here, stop an app. Stop. You need to stop by clicking this icon in your menu bar. So click on the stop. The stop process is completed. Understanding. So why I am explaining in detail here is you should know all these things when you are working on your lab. Okay. Okay. So this is one part. So if you have a trouble with USB debugging, what you need to do? So troubling the device connection. If you have a problem with the device connection, what you need to do? So one, if the Android Studio doesn't recognize your device, see, as soon as I enable the developer options by clicking the 7 times in the build in the about phone, so it gets connected, and as soon as I run the app has been installed and run successfully. So if the Android device doesn't recognize the device, what you need to do? So first you disconnect the device from your computer and reconnect and check it. And one more thing, you need to restart the Android Studio and then check it. After doing these two things, still your Android Studio doesn't recognizing it. So then disconnect the device from your computer and go to the settings and developer options. Tap revoke USB debugging authorizations. So developer within the developer options, you have an option called revoke USB debugging authorization. Then you need to tap on that. Then again reconnect the device. Then when prompted, grant authorization. You will get a prompt. You give the permission to access that. Then you may need to install the appropriate USB driver for the device and check the latest documentation. So this is the troubleshoot you can do by yourself. Okay. So I hope that everyone has understood till now how to create virtual device, what is the build process, and how to run your app on virtual device as well as your physical device. Right? Then using the log. What is this log? Okay, well, log is a powerful debugging tool where in this tool you can use to look the values, execution paths, and exceptions. So once you run your app, you can see the values, execution paths. So if you want to run any values, you can check over in this log debugging tool. So I will tell you where it is and how to check on all. So after you add logging statements, so for that you need to add in logging statements to your app if you want to check any values or execution paths or any exceptions if you want to see. Okay, where if you need to add that statement in your application, where and after adding and after running you need to look at the logcat tab in the Android monitor panel of the Android Studio. I will tell you how to see that. So you need to know two things. To see the Android monitor pan, click on the Android monitor button at the bottom of the Android Studio main window. So it offers for two tabs, Logcat tab and Monitors tab. What is this Logcat tab? It displays the log messages of your app running. Okay. So when it displays, if you add any logging statements to your app, it will displays. Okay. Monitor tab, monitor the performance of your tab, which will be helpful for debugging and tuning your code. So by seeing this monitor tab, you can see the performance of your app. So if you want to improve your performance, you can change the code and whatever the necessary things you can do, and you can debug the code again. Okay, that will helpful to build a better application. Okay, so how I said that you need to add the logging statements. So how you need to add your log statements in your application? So logging statements to add when whatever the messages you specify to the log. So what message you specify within the log statement, so that will be displayed in your logcat tab. Okay, so where you need to add. So at what point of code you need to look at the values, or you need to look at the what is the execution path of your application, or you want to check the exceptions of your code. At that point or at that line of the code, you can add the logging statements. So for example, how to use the logging statements, log.d, main activity, hello world. Let's see what is this log.d, what the first argument and what is the second argument. Okay. So this is the following statements you should know. The log is a class is the API for sending the log messages. So log is a class. Okay. So I have said that d. So this is a log level. Okay. It specifies the log level where you can filter the log messages by using the drop down menu. So in that there is a drop down menu. I will tell you what is the drop down menu, where it is in the center of the log pointer. So there are different log levels. Okay, there are different log levels: D, E, W, I. D is to debug, to see the messages of the debug. E is to see the messages of the errors. W is to see the messages of the warnings. And I is used to see the messages of your info. So that is the first thing. And within this log function, what is the main activity is the first argument is a log tag. It's a tag, okay, where which can be used to filter messages. So commonly we will give the log tag what is the name of the activity you have created. Okay, you have created. So let's see this within the Android Studio. Okay, so I will where you need to give, you need to give within the Android log dot b double quotes main activity comma, and I will give what the thing I have taken here. So I have taken the text name. Welcome to the today's class. We'll copy this and paste over here, and I will give semicolon. So Android it will talk. So what if you get any error? You just need to press Alt Enter. See, the error is gone. The particular supporting file has been added to your file. See here, util.lab. It has been added. Okay. If you get error, you can solve it out by pressing Alt Enter. So you need to remember these things also. When you are developing an application of your own, if you got error, how to clear error, you should know that things. Okay, log thing. Okay, so then how to see your log messages? Okay, how to see your log messages. So before running app, I will show how to see. See, this is the thing. If you here, you can see here in the Android monitor. So I will run this app once again. See here, Logcat. See, can you see the Logcat in the bottom of the Android Studio where the mouse pointer is pointing over there? You can see, right? The app has been running. See, I have given a message log D main activity. Welcome to the today class. How do you need to find? What is this D? Debug. So verbose will give all the things, but if you want to see only the debug, you can drop down here. You can take a drop down, and if you click debug, you will get what all the debug options are there. I will this. See, if you, I think here you will get the things. It's not showing. It has to show. Maybe so many files has been debugged. So that's why you are getting so many debugging files. Okay, it has been stopped. That's why I think so. So somewhere you will get here. whatever the message you have been displayed, no, that message will be displayed over here in the log cat. Okay, you can see over there, but here it's not displaying. But definitely it will display the things, whatever the message you have been passed here. So this is a one type of log messages you can do. And one more thing, you can use constants also. Okay, you can use constant. However, you can make this anything useful for your debugging the application. So define the log tag as a constant. See what I said, you can use the log tag as a constant also, where how you need to include the constant log tag. You need to specify private, you need to specify private static final log tag, private static log tag, main activity dot class dot get simple name. So after defining this constant, you need to use that constant in the logging statement. Okay, you need to use that in the logging statement. Log.d, this is the constant what you have declared here. Okay, so what is this constant? So with in this content log tag constant, what it will be there? We will be having a main activity dot class dot get simple name. What does it means? So whatever the name message you have been specified here, it will get that and it will print. So hello world is a second argument, actual message that appears after the log level and log tag under the log tag. So definitely you will see this log message in your log cat tab. If you after the class you can try it once. Okay. Okay. Understood everyone?
Yes, sir.